The first chord we're looking at is E major. This is one of the most common shapes and often one of the first that people learn to play. There are many places on the guitar neck where you can play an E major chord. But today we're looking at the most common position, often known as the open or first position. So, in other words, what you can see here is E major first position. And this is what it sounds like. Another reason this is a great chord to start off with is that unlike many other chords, E major uses all 6 strings of the guitar. Despite this, to play it, you only have to use 3 fingers. So, let's build the chord up from scratch, starting with your first or index finger. Place it here on the first fret of the G string. This is the 4th string down. Put your second or middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, which is the 2nd string down. Just 1 finger left to go now, which is your 3rd or ring finger. This goes on the D string, which is the 3rd string down. This finger also goes on the 2nd fret. You should now have the chord of E major. Make sure your fingers are firmly pressed down on the frets and not resting on any other strings. Here's what all the notes should sound like. Right. Why don't we try and play it to a simple rhythm? 1, 2, 3, 4. This may feel a little uncomfortable, but this is natural for any beginner. Stick with it and your fingers will soon toughen up. So, that's E major. Now let's look at the first of our variations, E minor. Once you've got the chord of E major sorted, going to E minor couldn't be easier, as all you have to do is take your first or index finger off the fret. Have a listen to the difference this simple change makes to the chord. The E major has a happier or brighter sound, while the minor chord has a darker or sadder sound. Finally, let's take a look at the last variation, E7. To play this chord, go back to the E major shape, but this time take your 3rd or ring finger off the fretboard. Here's what all the notes should sound like. Once again, you can see that by changing just 1 note in the chord, we get yet another very different feel. The 7th chord creates a feeling of suspense or gives the impression that something is about to change. Songwriters often switch from a major chord to a 7th just before they change to a different chord altogether. Now you know E major and 2 simple variations around it. Why don't you practice each chord and start trying to switch between them? Remember, take it slow. It's more important to get it right than do it quickly.